Now see, we understood the originators of information. Let's understand the sources of information. What are the types? Okay, so in this particular video, we'll understand what are the types of sources of information. See, when it comes to sources, we have the primary source, we have the secondary source, and then we have the tertiary source of information. What is primary source of information? See, the data is collected by the investigator himself or herself for the first time. So if he collects an information, let's see, you go into your neighborhood and you ask them whether they like oranges or not. So here you get an first hand information from, because you're interviewing them and noting down their preferences. Primary source report could be a discovery, a share, new information which is not available previously. Okay. So primary source information would present first hand accounts and information which is relevant to an event. Let's say you want to sell oranges, or maybe orange juice, or maybe let's say orange cake, that is a cake which is flavored, orange flavored. So that is the reason you are collecting this information in neighborhood. So here you are getting first hand account and information. So here the event is you are launching your cake shop, for example, and you are collecting information for that. Okay. So the primary source of information will present information in an original form, not interpreted, condensed or evaluated by other writers. So this is first time the information was collected, hence it will not be evaluated still by other writers, neither it would be condensed, nor it would be interpreted by earlier writers. Now remember, they are usually evidence or accounts of events. Okay, practices that are being researched and created by a person who has experience about that particular event, and they are the first formal appearance of results. Whenever I am talking about primary source of information, first time they are getting published or being shared with the public, okay, in terms of print or electronic formats. So this is what primary information is all about. Now, let's understand the methods of collecting primary information. First is direct personal investigation. Like I gave you an example, you go to your neighborhood door to door and ask them their preferences. So this is personally from the source. Then comes your indirect oral investigation. What is that? See, here the investigator would approach certain sources which are connected with the information directly or indirectly. For example, see, there was a fire in the train in which a person was traveling. As an investigation gator, when I go to that person and ask him what happened, what caused the fire, so that is an example of indirect oral investigation. Then comes your local correspondence. See, the investigator would appoint a local agent or a correspondent in different parts of the area under investigation. So they would go collect the information and pass it on to investigator. Mailed questionnaire. What does that mean? Here the investigator will send a questionnaire keeping in view the objective of the inquiry, and then this would be sent by post and people are supposed to respond to it. Okay. Sometimes the questionnaires can be through enumerators. So here the enumerators would go to the informants, that is the people who are going to give the information with the questionnaire, and then they will record the answer given by these informants. Now remember, we have discussed more in detail about these in statistics. Now let's move to the next source of information, that is secondary sources of information. Say, information about primary or original information which is usually been modified, selected or rearranged for specific purpose or audience. Simple words, remember in this manner. Let's say your government of India does a census every 10 years. So they collect a lot of information. You would have seen when they come to your house, they would ask you how many members are there, how many of them are earning, how many girls are there, or maybe how many women are there in the household. Okay, what is the average income? So they collect so much of information and then they publish that information. Suppose if someone collects that information then modifies it or rearrange it for addressing a specific purpose or issue, then that would become a secondary source of information. So basically, secondary source of information is a information which was already created by someone who did not have first-hand experience or did not participate in the events or situations being researched as such. Secondary sources would describe, analyze, interpret, evaluate, comment on the and discuss on the evidence given by the primary sources. So whatever is the data collected, let's say the census collected the data, how many women are earning. Now someone takes that data, rearranges it and say that the number of women earning in the country have gone up. So here what they have done, they have analyzed the data which was given to them by primary source of information. What are the methods of collecting secondary source of information? See, it could be in form of publishments or publications. So the government publications, your international publications, report of commissions and committees, publication of research institutions, that is the magazines they come up with, reports of trade associations, publication of personal investigation, all these are sources of secondary information. What about unpublished? See, I gave you an example, some kind of research work, some kind of thesis written by a PhD person, that is a person who was doing PhD. All this would come under unpublished sources of information. Now let's consider the last source of information, that is tertiary information. See, tertiary information is information which is a distillation and collection of primary and secondary sources. So it is not considered to be an acceptable matter on which you can base your academic research as such. Generally, this kind of information is not credited to any particular author. So you're using both primary and secondary source to come out with some information, and hence you will not credit any particular author. Generally, this source of information is intended to provide an overview of what the topic includes, its basic terminologies, and often gives the references for further reading. For example, if I say these are the number of women earning in India, so then I will give a reference from where I got the information. If you want to dwell more on the information, you can go to that particular reference. Tertiary information are the materials in which the information from secondary sources has been digested, reformed, condensed to put into a convenient, easy to read form. So generally, I will take the information either from the primary or secondary source, again rearrange it maybe in a tabular format in an attractive manner so that you can understand, the reader can understand the information. Now, they are once removed in time from the secondary source of information. Some reference materials and textbooks where their chief purpose is to list, summarize or repackage ideas or others information. So basically, what does this mean? Tertiary information would be removed from the secondary source of information most often, and this is mostly in form of a reference material which is being provided in the textbook, or where the chief purpose is generally to summarize or repackage the ideas. So where I have to just give the reference, I need to just repackage it, then I am providing a tertiary information. Now, let's understand what are the sources of information when it comes to primary, secondary and tertiary. See, autobiographies. Let's say tomorrow if Amitabh Bachchan writes his own autobiography, so that would be a primary source of information for you if you want to do a research on his life. It could be correspondence, emails, letters which were being passed. You would have seen, like, more often in the media we come out like, okay, this was a letter written by Indira Gandhi to someone, or maybe Nehru wrote the letter to Indira Gandhi. I'm just giving you an example. So what happened? These kind of letters become a source of primary information. Travel logs, diaries. Many a times we write a diary, and then if the diary also become, when I die, or maybe let's say For example, I get the diary published or I give it to someone, then it becomes a primary source of information. Eyewitnesses, oral histories. So, for example, if my grandparents came from Pakistan, so at that time they were, because of the partition, they had to shift from Pakistan to India. So when I get information from them and as to what were the difficulties they faced, what was the problems, so that's a kind of oral history I'm getting. So basically someone is just giving me a primary source of information as to what was the experience. When it comes to secondary information, biographies. So someone's biography can become a secondary source of information. Encyclopedias, handbooks, textbooks, literary criticism, history and historical criticism, political analysis, reviews of laws and legislation, they all become secondary source of information. Tertiary sources, your chronologies, classification, dictionaries, encyclopedia, directories, guidebooks and manual. These are all examples of tertiary source of information. Then comes your literary works. For secondary source, it would be your essays on morals. Then population registers, statistics, these all become your tertiary source of information. So even like opinion polls which we get, that's a primary source of information. Okay, someone if it criticizes the literature, the work of literature, art or music, it becomes a secondary source of information. If you have any guidebooks or manuals, then that would be a tertiary source of information. So these are a few examples of primary, secondary and tertiary source of information.